It's been over a year since we tried the last rendition of this, or the last release of this, and it's been sitting here for a while, patiently waiting for the Whiskey Chaser to get to it. And look, you all know how things go. Sometimes you say you're going to do something and then procrastination. If you couple that with the fact that I have an absolutely shockingly bad memory, and you get the reason for the long delay. Mainly procrastination though. Let's drink some whiskey. Welcome to Whiskey and Whiskey. I'm the Whiskey Chaser Brian here in Christy's Bar, Kilkenny. I hope you're keeping well. We've been here before. Last year, actually. Last March, I believe, 2021. Plenty of info in the last video I did on this particular release, and I will of course leave a card above if you're curious about some of the old Midleton info and Cork Distillers info. Come to think about it, it was probably more of an information overload, but there is tons of information in that video around Midleton and all that kind of stuff, so I would suggest you check that out. At your own leisure, of course. This is the 2022 vintage release of Midleton Very Rare. So we're coming into what is now the 39th edition of this, having started back in 1984 by then head distiller in Midleton Emeritus Barry Crockett. This is the second release where new head distiller Kevin O'Gorman, who used to be the head of wood maturation, has his signature on the label, right there. Prior to that, for 7 years, it was Brian Nation's name there, and prior to that, for 30 so odd years, it was Barry Crockett's. So for those who have had this before, you're looking at a very collectible, highly anticipated release of what Midleton called the pinnacle of Irish whiskey, a super premium blend of grain and pot still Irish whiskies, released annually and generally speaking in the thousands of bottles as it's released to many markets worldwide. Now, this second release from Kevin O'Gorman is said to be very similar to the first release, where he has leaned heavily on single grain whiskies, some of it being distilled as far back as 1989, and some pot still whiskies in there. Through the grapevine, I've learned that there are whiskies in between 12 and 33 years of age that are used in this blend. It is very much the same as last year, utilizing lightly charred first fill and refill bourbon barrels, bottled at 40% ABV, which is kind of a standard for Midleton Very Rare. I'm not entirely sure of the release amount, but I've heard rumors that Midleton tend to use around 400 casks for this particular release. If you know that's true, can you leave a comment below and let me know for certain, thereabouts? Anybody from Midleton watching this? Thank you. Also, that's the main reason why I'm not putting this on Rare Whiskey Wednesday, just so you know. Don't believe everything you read, people. It might say rare on the bottle, but define rare, I'll wait. This is probably the perfect time to announce to you all of the project that we've been working on over at the Whiskey Shelf, which is a little side project or side hustle me and a friend started that sells Irish whiskey memorabilia, well, kind of more along the lines of bespoke whiskey memorabilia. We have a few products up and more coming, but the newest release, which took absolutely ages to do because we used all real images and not renderings. One second. This, ladies and gentlemen, and it's rolled up so it looks stupid right now, is the fancy new 100 Irish whiskey scratch-off poster. Look at that. Look at this in all of its beautiful glory. So the idea is, if you're not familiar with this, you try a whiskey, you scratch it off the list. It's as simple as that. And for the next few weeks, we're going to focus and work off of this poster and scratch off some whiskeys as we go along. And yes, we have tried very much to make this so that you can access the whiskeys around the world. These are not incredibly limited to just Irish markets. There's more coming down the road for that. If you can, then it's a perfect excuse to visit Ireland and try more amazing whiskeys if it's not on the list, or if it is on the list and you can't find it. There you go. That's the whole point of this, is to explore and expand your whiskey dictionary, Irish whiskey dictionary. So on the poster we have Powers Gold Label, Roe & Co, Dunville's, Irish American, Egan's, Tullamore Dew, W.D. O'Connell, Bushmills. We have Redbreast, of course, Napo Castle, Killowen, Atharu, Connemara, Egan's, J.J. Corey, Midleton Very Rare. Hello. Tullamore Dew, I think I said that, the Busker, Tyrconnell. So there's plenty of whiskies on there that are available around the world. There's even Sexton and some Teelings. So today we are drinking Midleton Very Rare 2022, and for the sake of this poster, we haven't actually put the year release on Midleton Very Rare. We've literally just put Midleton Very Rare to make it easy on you, because we sound like that and we're nice people. So we're going to scratch that off now and hang it up because we're drinking it. Now I just have to find it. There it is, down towards the bottom. Midleton Very Rare, and we scratch. This, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call making a dog's dinner out of it. Oh shit. Okay, so we have that scratched off, Midleton Very Rare. You can see there's a little bit of scratch tape on it. That looks good though, I like that kind of look. Get out of here, fly. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. The size of the poster is A2. Don't ask me what that is in inches or mils. Midleton Very Rare 2022, checked off the list on this one. It is just Midleton Very Rare to make it easy on you. You're welcome. It's gonna be one of those days. Hopefully you can see that with the glare. So yeah, that's it. That's Midleton Very Rare scratched off, and that's our awesome new scratch off poster. If you want one, I'll leave a link below to where you can pick one up for yourselves. We do think it's pretty cool, we have to admit. As it is our first time to launch the product, we are also giving out a discount code. Check below alongside the link to get 20% off this poster. Use code CHASER2022 at checkout. Also check the shipping. Because of Brexit, we don't ship to the mainland UK. Sorry about that, but this is the way it is. Northern Ireland, yes. Sorry, UK. Finally, on to the whiskey. And we pour. So before we drink, of course, I'm going to give it time to breathe. Once again, it is a 40% ABV blended Irish whiskey using both grain and pot still whiskies aged between 12 and 33 years of age. Midleton Very Rare releases using nothing but first fill and refill American bourbon casks. Try to remember that future-wise. The price of this varies from about 190 euros on the cheap side to about 220, and even in some rare instances, stupid money in the hundreds, which is completely nuts. Don't pay that. It's here. It's open. As you can see, there's been a few drams taken out of it. It's released in many different markets throughout the world. Excuse me. And we are going to drink it now, momentarily. Okay, so giving it a couple of moments to open up there a little bit. And we're going to do some yummy, tasty notes. Now, just as a side note, this was kind of my eureka moment whiskey. I said this before in the 2021 video that I did. This kind of got me into more higher end of whiskeys, bringing me down a different road entirely of kind of premium whiskeys and away from your standard pours, because there is a significant difference when you first step away from the standard whiskeys that you'd normally be used to into a super premium market. Now, this is not for everyone, I would say that, and people know that. Those who watch this will know and who have had it before. But if you haven't had it before, or if you're kind of dipping your toe into Irish whiskey, then listen up. So straight away, quite light on the nose, but it's quite flavorsome in terms of vanilla. Bourbon notes, definitely there. It's light, but it's, what's the best way to say it without sounding condescending, or kind of sounding like I'm not making sense? It's light but thick. Light on the nose, but you can almost sense an oiliness to it. Your standard kind of vanilla notes, a little bit of kind of milk chocolate there, bourbon. Not very grainy, not very spicy, but it is there. Vanilla, hints of kind of like ripe fruits, like just very, very subtle kind of banana. Very, very light on that. Even think along the lines of a little bit of, dare I say, coconut. Very slight, but definitely those milk chocolate, definitely the vanillas, and definitely an element of lightness. Let's get it on the palate and see, does it open up a bit more? Then we'll go back to the nose, let's launch it. Yeah, it's a little bit more oilier now. Still those light kind of vanilla notes, bourbon, when I say bourbon, sorry, I mean like it's from the bourbon cask, so you're getting like a little bit of oak char and stuff like that. That's what I mean when I reference that. There's no real kind of, there's a hint of bitterness there, but nothing major. Those banana notes have subsided a little bit, still kind of very sweet, very grainy kind of, that kind of, it reminds me a little bit of the kind of notes that I got from the Quebec 19 actually, to be honest with you now. That single grain, definitely more single grain coming through, and a little bit of pot still spice, medium pot still spice. Not overly complex. Medium complexity, we will say. Back to the nose. Open up a little, just a hint, little bit more of some orchard fruits there, just very, very slight, and ripe fruits like bananas. Touch of coconut, and we'll go back to the palate. Let's launch it. Yeah, same milk chocolate there actually too, coming through. Finish. Medium. Plenty of the oak char from the bourbon barrels left on the palate, along with some very medium spice. It's not overly spicy. Beginners would, or those dipping their toes into Irish whiskey will quite like this because it's not straightforward in your face spice like some of the whiskeys that I do be drinking on the channel. Touch of bitterness left on the end. Let's launch it. Yeah. Vanilla bourbon forward. Like I said, those light touches of banana, coconut, that kind of thing there, milk chocolate there, a little bit of grain, a little bit of spice, nothing massively complex, nothing underwhelming or overwhelming. It's just kind of Midleton Very Rare as I would define it. As I mentioned previously in a 2021 video, which this is very similar to, these whiskeys are typically very light, leaning heavily on the kind of grain side of things. Some people will love that. You might absolutely go bananas for that. And then if you do, this is probably something you would really, really enjoy. For me, because I drink so many whiskeys, because my palate has changed so much over the last 2, 3, 4 years, I think this is a little bit on the lighter side. The 40% ABV, me particularly, I like to see it at a higher ABV, but this will suit some people, just I don't think for me personally. Now, in saying that, you go down the price wise, I know they're utilizing whiskeys that are up to 33 years of age in here, grain and pot still. For 200 odd euros, we'll average it out there. I think there is probably some heartier whiskeys on the market that do a really great job in utilizing some bourbon and some sherry as well, that you could get in around that price point that for the kind of more discerned whiskey drinker, you would enjoy a little bit more than that. Now, not knocking that, but just you have options at that price point. Understanding those options is what gives you the power to embrace this whole whiskey journey thing, if you wanted to do that. So would I buy a bottle for drinking? No, I would not. I have tried it many a times. I've tried many different versions of this, and for me, I could find a better way to spend 200 quid on a whiskey that I think is more robust to suit my palate. Just me. Now, the link is down below for the lovely scratch-off poster that we have developed, and of course, more information on the Midleton Very Rare range, should you like to check out some more. And folks, that is it from me this week. Plenty more whiskeys to get through for next week. As you can see, we have a whole poster there. Make sure you're subscribed, and if you like the video, pop me an thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. Thanks. Until next week, keep it Irish. Sláinte.